making ludicrous claims year after year. Well, the concerns were there and the Modi government has acted on it. But everything associated with secularism and minority in India has been so warped since 1947 that it had made virtually impossible for any government till now to touch an act like this, the Waqf Act. Despite egregious issues associated with it, secular parties have shied away because they don't want to be seen governing any part of Muslim life in India. Has the Modi government, in its third successive term then, finally managed to break the mold that Indian democracy has been stuck in? Well, that's the larger question we need to ask and ponder on the eve of the bill tabling in Lok Sabha. What are the larger implications of such a bill being amended if done without incident? For some reason, CAA rights come to mind, because that was a never-before-seen street fight over something that did not affect even a single citizen of India. After that, it was always a question, what else could be derailed in the name of religious identity? Are we out of that cycle? I can't say. Because the opposition has been raising hackles with the same old fears that Muslim life is being controlled in a bid to subdue it. Even as I speak, opposition is considering its strategy of how to handle the numbers game in Parliament, which is in NDA's favour. It's unlikely there can be broad agreement across the aisles all the time in a democracy, but will there at least be an honest debate? The government seems poised to deliver on its promise of passing this bill in this current session, and it seems likely only a matter of time, because here's what the numbers say. In Lok Sabha, the NDA holds fort with 293 seats, 21 above the majority mark of 272, while the opposition collectively holds 250, much below that majority mark. Here's where the numbers are getting more interesting. For example, in Rajya Sabha, the NDA has 122, just 3 seats above the majority mark, so the difference is particularly low, where the opposition has 116. With the numbers game so interesting, all eyes have been on the NDA allies for various reasons, because they have concerns that possibly the BJP, the biggest NDA partner, does not. So while JDU had voiced its concerns over the Waqf bill earlier, it has now said that if the JPC has taken into consideration the apprehensions, then the bill can be implemented. However, but with retrospective effect. They don't want anything with proactive effect, not with retrospective effect. Chandrababu Naidu-led TDP has refrained from commenting. It says they will decide only after the bill is presented. Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena and Chirag Paswan's Lok Janshakti Party, though, have extended the full support to the Waqf Amendment Bill, making life much simpler for the ruling NDA. Meetings, whips, strategies and counter-strategies. The NDA clearly has the numbers. So the big question that we asked today is this. Is there a possibility that the opposition can prevail in any scenario? And really, the larger question on the opposition today is also this. How will they frame this debate? How will they frame their arguments in Parliament against the amendments?
Tomorrow on 2nd April, we are bringing the Waqf Amendment Bill.
मुसलमानों का विरोध बिल्कुल नहीं करते हैं और इसीलिए मुझे लगता है कि ये बिल मुसलमानों के विरोध में नहीं है। ये बिल आम मुसलमानों के, गरीब मुसलमानों के फायदे का है।
It is unfortunate that how the lower house has just become just a platform for the political masters of this government to run its agenda.
BJP is a party which is guided by RSS, which wants to spread nafrat and hate in the country. Therefore, they want the communal tension to be good because they had lost 400 per target and they had been reduced to 240. But again, they wanted to create a divide in the society. Therefore, only they want this Waqf vote.
Article 14, Article 25, 26, 29 का ग्रेव वायलेशन है। ये वक्फ बिल नहीं है बल्कि ये वक्फ बर्बाद बिल है।
Let me quickly just break down what are the strategies as far as the two camps or the two sides are concerned. While I said that the NDA is looking very comfortable, of course, each side has had to issue its whips to ensure that there is discipline as far as Parliament is concerned. So the NDA, the government wants to pass this bill this session. In fact, one day in Lok Sabha and one day in Rajya Sabha, but the opposition has called for meets ahead of the session and they're likely to meet tomorrow morning as well. On that note, let me go across to our first big guest joining us on the day. I want to go across to Rajeev Chandrasekhar, who's Kerala BJP Unit's state president. Rajeev, thanks a lot for your time. I'm speaking to you even as we are looking forward to the tabling of the Waqf Amendment Bill. And interestingly, it is the Catholic bishops in Kerala who have come out with a very passionate but reasonable appeal to Kerala MPs that they should not be biased when looking at this amendment and look at the secular democratic framework and allow the amendments of those aspects of this existing bill that were in contravention of those constitutional principles. Do you think the Congress, the left, would listen to this appeal?
No, I think that is something that needs to be looked out for and seen when the bill is introduced tomorrow in Parliament, Shivani. But, I have joined in the appeal because it is the duty. Let's face it, let's be clear. It is the duty of every member of Parliament of Kerala to support any initiative that solves the problems and the sufferings of hundreds of families in Munambam, a small hamlet near Ernakulam, Cochin, who have been agitating for not 1 month or 2 months, but for years to have their property protected from the Waqf. And the last time I checked, it is the duty of every member of Parliament to step up and help people or those who are in distress. And it is the Congress party and their leadership that keeps waving the constitution and talking about protecting constitutional rights. And every Indian citizen, regardless of faith, community, gender, has a constitutional right to property. And we all know that the Waqf Act, as it is today, violates the constitutional rights of some communities, and there is this asymmetry of rights when the Sikhs and the Buddhists and the Christians and every other minority have a set of rights, but this one community has an extra right where they can, in a sense, grab land belonging to anybody. So I think this is really not about any being against any community. This is about making sure every community, including every minority community, has the same set of rights under the Indian Constitution. And this aberration, this historical aberration,
Yes.
Is the current Waqf Act, needs to be amended fairly, transparently. And I'm hoping that the Congress and the Kerala MPs can look past their traditional, typical appeasement politics and do what is right for the people of Munambam.
No, but they're not saying that at all. In fact, it's interesting. I just want to draw a parallel to, for example, the debate on what has come to be known as love jihad. A lot of these issues, particularly in North India, for example, get mired in the rhetoric of Hindu-Muslim politics or BJP Congress narratives. It was from Kerala that the Christian community at that time had raised their voice against this trend of, I use the term again, love jihad, to simplify what we're talking about. And even then, the so-called secular parties of India tried to brush it under the carpet. They're doing so again as far as the insecurities associated with Waqf Amendment Bill is concerned. They're saying this is another move by the BJP government to subdue the Muslim minority.
And you know it, I know it, and everybody in the country now knows that this is a typical lie that the Congress puts out there to practice their appeasement politics. There is nothing in what I have read or seen that is remotely against any community. There is nothing in the bill that takes away any right of any Muslim citizen in this country. So let us be clear, this is really the same old decades of appeasement politics that is coming in the way of members of parliament who swear on the constitution doing the right thing. Look, in Kerala, this issue is not an academic issue. In Kerala, this issue is not an issue, a bland debate of constitutional values. In Kerala, there are hundreds of families in Munambam that are going to be impacted by whether the Waqf Amendment Bill is passed or not. This is real people, real suffering, real problem, and it can't be Congress MPs or any Kerala MP's response that somehow this act is anti-secular or this act is going to take away any rights when the absolute opposite is true. So look, we have to call the bluff. We have to, and I don't mean as BJP, I mean as everybody in this country, call the bluff of the Congress, expose them, out them. They have to take a position in terms of what is right for the people of Munambam. The MPs of Kerala who sit there in the parliament and represent the people of Kerala have a beholden duty. They have a duty to the people of Munambam. They don't have a duty to play appeasement politics when there are real people suffering and there are real problems that need to be addressed and solved, which the bill in parliament does. And why are they running away from a debate? Let them participate in the debate. And if there is something in the bill that they have discovered or they have manufactured or they have misinformed that is going against any one community, let them expose it in parliament, let them say it in parliament. And I'm sure the minister will clarify if there is any correction that is to be made. But we know that that is not the case. They do not want to get into this, but they would rather peddle this misinformation that these are against this is against one community, when the opposite is the truth.
We say this, but political lines, even in a state like Kerala, don't really move despite certain very touchy religious issues coming up. There's been Sabrimala in the past, there's been love jihad in the past, there is this issue now. Do you believe the Kerala polity or the Kerala electorate is ready to hold its MPs to account beyond the rhetoric?
I'm not sure this is religious at all, Shivani. This has nothing to do with religion. This is a group of people, hundreds of families who have been living on their land, who have their homes, the children live there, their families have been brought up there, generations have lived there, have been told suddenly one day that that land belongs to the Waqf. How is this religious? This is about protecting the rights of every Indian citizen. And just because one group of people affected by the Waqf happen to be Christian or one other group in Karnataka happen to be Hindu farmers doesn't make it suddenly religious.
Having said that, do you believe the public is ready to hold its MPs to account on issues like this? Are they watching and holding them to account?
I am not a soothsayer, I am not an astrologer, but I can only say what I have said and what people are saying, the media is saying and everybody is saying. MPs, members of parliament, have the duty to solve the problems of the people who elect them and who they serve. This is a beholden duty. There is no other duty more sacrosanct than this. And if you start trying to dilute that duty, that obligation to solve the Munambam people's problems by bringing in all kinds of vacuous misinformation and lies, then people will see through it. And people are not fools. In an age of social media, in the age of enlightened media, the people know who's standing by them and who's playing politics with them.
Right.
And the future will determine who the people will support or will not support.
I have to ask you this. You've recently been appointed as the BJP Kerala state president. Do you see this as an opportunity to make further inroads? Because I highly doubt whether voting lines are going to be very different amongst Kerala MPs from Congress and otherwise. Do you see this as an opportunity?
Shivani, I went to Munambam when I was not a BJP president. I went to Munambam when I had lost an election and I had absolutely no stake of any sort politically. I went to Munambam because this was the right thing to do. So many people have supported the families in Munambam because it is really something that is happening. What is happening to them is really unfair. It is completely trampling on the rights of families to own property. It's not an easy thing to live in a home and live in an area for years and decades. Generations live there, and suddenly you wake up one day morning and you're told, no, but that land belongs to the Waqf because of something that somebody said in 1912.
Right.
That is, this is not politics. This is about the fundamental nature of our democracy. People who have problems have elected MPs who are supposed to solve their problems, who are supposed to do their darndest to help them resolve their issues, resolve the challenges that are thrown at them. And
Right.
if that is ignored, then I don't know what an MP's duty, whether you're a Kerala MP or any other MP, what the duty is. I took my duty as an MP when I was in Parliament very seriously, Shivani, and I would think that these MPs would do the same.
Well, these are the issues that MPs' performances should be judged, because at the end of the day, the basic premise of Parliament is to pass good laws that help citizens in their life and lifestyle. But before I let you go, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, since I have you, I do have to deviate from the topic just a little bit and ask you, there's a lot of speculation that your former opponent in Lok Sabha elections, Shashi Tharoor, could be joining the BJP.
I have no clue. I don't know. I don't know what the gentleman wants to do. I just know, and I thank him that he has belatedly recognized that many things that the Prime Minister has done, Narendra Modi ji has done, whether it is vaccines or the Russia-Ukraine war, he has recognized that these are good decisions for the country. And so anybody who wakes up, even belatedly, any ostrich who takes his head out of the sand and recognizes the last 11 years of hard work by our Prime Minister, I would thank him and I would certainly welcome him.
All right. I leave it at that note. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
Big day coming up tomorrow, because the Waqf Amendment Bill is all set to be tabled in Parliament. Let's open this up to our guests joining us. I have with me Anuja Kapoor of the BJP, Pooja Tripathi from the Congress Party, Shahid Ali is an advocate, and Firoz Bhakt Ahmed, former Chancellor, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, is with me in the studio. Let me begin with our guest in the studio. Sir, lots of apprehensions amongst the Muslim community. There are several high-profile Muslim leaders who have come out to allay these fears, but it doesn't always work. They get a lot of charges against them, for example, Nasiruddin Chishti and others, and they get paid, and stooges, and all of these epithets are thrown at them. What is it that you want to say today as this amendments bill is set to be tabled?
See, problem here with the Waqf bill, the way it has been promoted and projected is that the community has not understood that the government is doing it for the welfare of the poor Muslims. Actually, what has happened for all these hundreds of years is that the Waqf land or the Waqf property, that has been frittered away by the very people who are part of this Waqf system. Most of the land which has been frittered away, which has been sold in peanuts, is by the mutawallis who are Muslims by themselves. It happened during the phase of Congress. I am not blaming any party, but I am calling a spade a spade. So,
does these amendments, the ones that you know of that have been in discussion in the media, do you think they solve that problem, or is it more just superficial that the Modi government wanted to be seen to do something about this issue to assuage their constituency, and that is why they're doing it? Are they solving the problem, or
these will definitely solve the problem, because 9 lakh, I think more than 9 lakh acres of land is there for the Muslims, but not a single Muslim has been benefited for even 10 rupees, or not a woman has been helped, no child has been helped for his education expenses by this Waqf land. And I was reading somewhere that Waqf property, I mean monthly it should be something like 12,000 crores of rupees if it is done. But what happens? The people associate, the members of the Waqf board, the chairman of the Waqf board, the lawyers of the Waqf board, they actually fritter away all this money, which doesn't come to the poor people, poor Muslims. It goes into the pockets of the so-called, I mean, you people, there are some people in Hyderabad who have got lot of land, and there has been another, union minister of Waqf, former minister of minorities, who also, I mean, allegedly has been said that he has also hundreds of, acres.
So you're saying the power has got concentrated in the hands of a few, and the purpose, the very religious purpose of a Waqf land has not been fulfilled. I want to take that to Shahid Ali before I go to our political representatives. Shahid Ali, can no good come out of this? Is it so difficult to accept that some good can come out of this just because it is Modi Sarkar and the BJP Sarkar at the center?
No, it is not like that. No good is being coming. No, at all, not at all. In fact, Waqf board till date is Ghulam. There is a slave till date.
Ghulam of
and
who?
By virtue of...
Sorry, Ghulam of who?
Ghulam of government. Ghulam of government. And by virtue of proposed amendments, they want to snatch away everything. So instead of removing irregularities, instead of liberating the Waqf, they have been trying to snatch all Waqf properties.
But sir,
Kamal
what
ki
more
baat hai.
liberation? What more liberation can the Waqf body, a
There is no
tribunal,
liberation at
a
all.
tribunal
See,
at the end of the day have than it already
Tribunal-
did? In fact, the
What do you
problems with the problems with the Waqf Act
Please
were that
tell
it
me.
had too much liberty.
Please tell me, what do you understand by tribunal? Do you know that in India more than 300 tribunals are working? And in tribunals, only judicial officers are appointed. So if judicial officers are appointed, a particular court is called tribunal. Tribunal means the specific matters
I
shall be
understand
taken
that.
up by the tribunal.
But
The
I
specific
understand
matters
that
shall be
it
taken up by the
governs.
tribunal.
So most
So
of the
here are-
tribunals that you're talking about, and we have interface with as citizens, those are not religious tribunals. Please
This is also
understand.
not religious tribunal.
How can
That's
you
why
say
I'm
Waqf is
saying.
not religious?
It is, tribunal is not religious.
Waqf is
Tribunal
religious.
headed by, no, tribunal is headed by judicial officers. Please read section 85 of Waqf Act. Please read.
My point is
Tribunal
exactly
is-
this. Maybe giving it
Tribunal-
the status
Oh,
of
that
a
is
tribunal.
That is a propaganda of BJP.
One second.
That is a propaganda
Let
of
me
BJP,
ask you,
and
Shahid Ali,
people,
Shahid Ali.
Unfortunately, also have been following.
One
and
second, let me
you are
ask you.
following that trend.
Let me ask you. You're talking about tribunals and the powers they have. I understand that there are traffic tribunals, etc., etc. They govern a certain aspect of civic life of all Indians equally. No other religion in India has a tribunal level power that the Waqf gave to Muslims alone. Is that not unfair?
Cases against
For
Waqf
example,
are
should
by
I tell
Muslims
you?
only.
By Muslims only,
For example,
absolutely.
I'm
Is
telling
that
you
not
one thing.
unfair? How is that secular
No,
They
and
can't
level
go to a
playing
court
field?
of law
It is
like
not
High
like
Court
that.
or
Sir,
Supreme Court.
let him finish.
In
Yes.
Delhi, if you speak about if you talk about the Waqf tribunal, that is always headed by a Hindu judge, not a Muslim.
I am not
So
talking
what
about the
you are talking
members.
about?
I am talking the premise itself that one religion should have such powers. Others don't. Just that premise is
Absolutely
wrong.
not. This is not. In fact, the powers of civil courts have been taken away, like by many other tribunals. So in this tribunal also, powers of civil courts have been taken away. Powers have been vested in tribunal so that the speedy justice is delivered
Okay.
to public at
Actually,
large. Whosoever is coming to tribunal.
Actually,
And
the
all are
issue
welcome to
as far
tribunal.
as I understand what you're saying, Shahid Ali. You're saying you're talking about the structure as it existed plus the structure that will exist post amendments
Let
if
it
passed.
come test it on the anvil of practicality.
Okay, fair enough. But, can I just come back to the moot point here? The moot point here is this. The very existence of the Waqf Act actually was the problem. I'm not sure if the amendment solved that problem or not. But the issue was precisely that only one community was given the kind of rights that they enjoyed via a Waqf Act that would be unimaginable for any other community. Leave aside the majority of this country.
No
Pooja,
rights or
Shahid,
powers,
Shahid, one
no.
second. Shahid, one second. Let
Just
Pooja come
Let me
in.
reply to this. In one line only.
Yes.
In one line only. Rights and powers were never conferred upon Muslim community, but upon the party in politics, upon the party in power. Upon the party in power. Powers of Waqf board are conferred
People like you
upon
are
the
saying
party
that all
whosoever is in
masjids,
power. Waqf board
all
chairman is
mosques,
appointed by the
all
party in
graveyards,
power.
all
Other
madrasas,
members
they
are
will be
appointed by the party in
confiscated by the
power.
government.
So
The
this
government
is
has its
absolutely-
eyes on
this is
Waqf
absolutely
land. It is not there.
misconception. Their power is conferred
Not
upon the
even an
Muslim
inch of
community.
Waqf land
Absolutely
can
not.
be
Power is
taken
conferred
away,
upon the
taken
government,
away by the
whosoever is in
government.
So
Not even
please
Prime
remove
Minister
this
can take
misconception.
1 inch of
That's
land.
why I am saying that till date
Don't
the Waqf
misguide
board
and
is
mislead
slave.
Okay,
who are
can
Muslims.
I don't want to do
Breaking
this
the
in
Waqf
this
board,
fashion.
the
One
government is
second.
trying to
All right,
snatch
all
away everything.
Shahid Ali,
This is not fair.
Shahid Ali, one second. If your contention is going to be that, government was always controlling all mosques, all Waqf land, I don't think anybody is going to buy that. Because all
Absolutely,
minorities
this is
in
not-
India
this is
enjoy
the
the
truth.
kind of freedom as far as their religious places and
This is
religious
the
practices
truth,
are concerned
unfortunately.
that even the majority of this country does not follow. But
This is the
sir, give me
truth,
time.
unfortunately.
Shahid Ali, give me time. Two of my guests have not spoken. Pooja Tripathi, I was coming to the basic premise. Actually, why the Waqf Act was seen as an affront, particularly by the Hindu majority, is because it conferred the kind of illegitimate rights on one section on the basis of religiosity that would otherwise, by parties like you, not be condoned. But it was condoned because this was Muslim minority.
Shivani, Waqf, it upholds the Article 25 of Constitution, the freedom to profess, practice and propagate a religion, and Article 26 to the freedom to manage religious affairs. What Congress party is basically objecting is to the way the fraudulent JPC has been conducted. You know, the JPC members, the whole stakeholders were not consulted. They were suggesting 44 amendments. First of all, JPC did not discuss the clause by clause, which happens in every JPC, be it a minor bill or a major bill, everything happens. A clause by clause discussion didn't happen. A 450-page report was given a day before to read them. And when the members suggested that, you know, All India Minority Chairman Board, the ex-chairman should be invited to uphold this, it was turned down. And when Kiren Rijiju introduced it in Rajya Sabha, not introduced it, gave the copy, which the journalists also have with the draft copy, it did not have the dissent note. It did not have the 44 amendments that were suggested by the opposition members that were part of the JPC.
Okay.
And when the hue and cry was raised, you know, he said nothing has been redacted, and then a modified draft was introduced. We are saying, why, if you claim to be the, you know, the flag bearers of minority upliftment, why go by a fraudulent means?
Okay, can I take that to Anuja? I'll come back to you on more issues as far as the Waqf amendments are concerned. But Anuja, can you respond on this? Because most of the opposition parties have always had issues with the way you're doing your business, with the way you're conducting parliament, with the way you're passing bills.
Jai Shri Ram. I don't know what is the problem with the opposition and the opposition parties which are sitting right now. They have forgotten that we have a mandate in the parliament. If we would have had a black eye or we want to do something of our own, we would not have asked you. We would not have done it. We would have done it on the August 2024 when the bill was being introduced. We would have passed it. We are here because we believe in Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas. And that is where this is the problem, which is the surveillance of it is the problems with them. When we talk about, we look up to the government eye, when we look up how Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas is happening, that is the problem. The Muslims are the aggrieved party that they have forgotten. It is not only Hindus, could be 1 or 2 or 3, 4. The larger majority are the Hindus, not they are the Muslim party. The Muslims will be benefited. The Muslims are the aggrieved party into this. The JPC was extended. JPC would not have got the, you know, the right in this, but JPC was being introduced. The JPC was entered in the winter session. The winter session was not was later extended to budget session. Again, it has been extended to budget session.
Okay.
We are talking about the 44 amendments. We are talking about the Article 26. I would like to ask the Congress, what about 1995 and 2013? Wasn't Article 26 was not present at that time? Then you were making the acts. When you were the ones who were amending it, why do you get angry? Why do you get frustrated? And why is it that you get a heart attack when the BJP comes on the board?
Okay, let me ask
is
Pooja.
not the one who is going to take it
down from her arrogant.
No, 1 second. Pooja, I want to ask you a different question now. You know, you say you have a problem with the way the JPC has functioned. But take any bill that the Modi government has tried to bring in, even something like GST, for example, which all parties had agreed upon. You know, there was a large scale consensus, bipartisan consensus on something like that, a reform like that. Even that the Congress party criticizes till today. What? On technicalities. So are you using how the JPC functioned as an excuse to not really talk about the real issue here? Are you in favor of the amendments or the fact that the Waqf board as it comprised was being abused? The powers were too great.
You know, Shivani, I opened my statement because how the way JPC, you know, bulldozed its way through, it needed to be addressed at the opening of the debate, and Anuja needs to get through her, get down from her high horses of arrogance because they don't have the numbers. They sent the bill to JPC because they don't have the numbers. The IT Act and every act which was, taken back by the government because they don't have the numbers.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about the main issue. Sir, I'm just coming to you. Talk about the main issue of the way the Waqf boards were behaving. Is it unfair to look at the issue that is emanated from Kerala or Tiruchendurai in Tamil Nadu or countless properties including age-old temples in UP, government, judiciary buildings across the country? Is it unfair?
Let me answer. So what Congress, as a Congress representative, I need to answer, set the record straight here, as we proposed 5 amendments to the Waqf Bill. That was, you are diluting the powers of the national tribunals, the state boards and everything. And then when you say that any practicing Muslims with 5 years of practicing Islam can only donate to Waqf, who will determine? Who is the judge here? Who will determine who is the practicing Muslim for 5 years? Will you have a CCTV camera 24/7, 365 to determine that there will be 5 years of practicing Muslim? The Waqf by user definition, which is established by judiciary, has been diluted.
It will always be there. It has been there. Waqf by user is not touched here.
Then you just when you complain about the property, our collector or a nominated member
No
of
madrasa,
the
no
state
mosque, no
just
graveyard will be
scan
touched.
the whole property. And then when you say the administration, we
your
are
opinion
saying
Don't
is-
misguide and mislead the
one by
people.
one, please, one by one,
What
one by
did he say?
Shahidi,
What
I'll
did
come
he
back to
say?
you for your final comments, just one by one. So you're saying there are issues in the way the amendments have been approached. The Waqf by user clause, I want to tell Feroz Bhakt Ahmed as well, has been done away with. Now, this has been a contentious one in courts. For example, the Eidgah Maidan in Karnataka, I am told, where the Eidgah body had said that this is Waqf land, and when they were asked to show the deed, they said it is Waqf by user just because we have been using it for a long time. The new amendment puts the owners to show a Waqf deed. Don't you think, Feroz Ahmed Bhakt, that this could be a problem?
See,
How many
all
people
right.
will be able to show deeds?
Let me tell you, in those days, say a couple of hundreds of years, when there were no, papers and things, so Waqf has been managed that way only. Now, there have to be papers. Now, the government has done a very, very proper homework, because what actually had been done in the case of Waqf lands was that it was confiscated by, it was misused by the very mutawallis, by the very people who are managing these Waqfs. All these Waqf boards should be diluted, they should be finished, and new committees should be formed. There should be a widow committee to look after their benefit. There should be a masjid committee, there should be a graveyard committee, there should be a senior citizen committee, there should be a poor students committee, and all these funds, government is trying to bring back those funds. Let me tell you, in Windsor Hotel in Bengaluru, it is a Waqf property, and it is giving merely something like 1 lakh rupees per month, and the rent should be much higher, right?
Okay, I'm not
likewise,
sure about
Waqf properties have been mismanaged.
Okay,
and
I'm not sure if
fund
the-
is not coming to the poor people, the poor widows, the poor
I get
students.
that point. So, I want to ask Shahid Ali exactly this. Would you at least concede, let's say you're not happy with the JPC amendments and what is coming as far via the Modi Sarkar, would you at least concede that Waqf boards were crossing a line when they were claiming acres and acres of land that had no connection to Islamic activity or Islamic, rule? And they have not served the purpose. Waqf boards have not served the purpose that they were meant to serve. Who are they serving, in fact?
Shivani
Sir,
asked him to remove his black band. It is not Eid.
It's okay,
It
that's
is
his
very
freedom.
ludicrous.
That's his freedom to wear his black band.
All right,
let
all
him,
right.
let
He
him
has
wear
his
it.
right.
I have
Why
limited
should
time, sir.
not?
Let him.
Why should not?
Let's not deviate from my
Yes.
question, my two-part question.
Yes, your question is
Were
absolutely
Waqf
correct.
boards
Yes,
crossing the line, and were they actually helping anyone?
When this
Not
Waqf
at all.
bill was brought into, only during that period or immediately before that, these kind of activities came into being, came into picture. We have noticed that. But mere issuance of a notice does not ipso facto make or bestow power on Waqf board to snatch the property of someone.
But this
That's why
bill
there
did
was a
that.
tribunal.
The Act did that.
That's why there is a tribunal. That's why there is a tribunal.
The tribunal is the Waqf board tribunal, sir. It's not a neutral
Waqf
tribunal.
tribunal is headed by a judge, judicial officer.
Yeah, but it's
Judicial-
not an
judicial is
independent
independent.
body. It's the Waqf tribunal.
Yes,
To
judiciary
challenge
is
it, you had to
independent
go
in
to
India.
higher courts.
India in India.
Tribunals
there
have
is
proved to be
judiciary is
a miserable failure.
Judiciary is independent. India is.
You're
India is standing on
hinging.
three pillars.
I see what you're doing. You're
India is
hinging on the
standing three
fact
pillars.
that an
One of the
ex-judge
pillars is the judiciary.
could be the
You
member
want-
of the tribunal. In fact, this new amendment now ensures that 2 non-Muslims can be added. Till now, no non-Muslim can even be added. Even such a committee
All
said it is
non-Muslims-
hindering
all
the
non-Muslims
expertise
have
that the
the
Waqf boards
tribunals,
need.
ma'am.
But just the presence of that judge, you mean, just solves all the other problems of extra
presence,
powers that the
basically he
Waqf boards
decides.
had.
Basically, judge decides the problems.
अरे आपका ऐसा केस है कि ट्रेन आई नहीं है स्टेशन पे, आप कह रहे हैं इसमें पंखा नहीं है, बिजली नहीं है, सीटें नहीं, आने तो दो बिल को.
Right.
So there was no problem, Anuja. At the end of the day, the BJP has to convince both Parliament and the larger public that this is for their good. How are we going to do that? I have limited time, 30 seconds.
That is important. BJP should actually take Muslims into confidence, which they have not done.
Okay, Anuja.
Feroz bhai. We don't have to convince anybody. We don't have to convince anyone. This is the power of the people for the people.
नहीं वो ठीक है, convince करना पड़ेगा. 20-25 करोड़ लोग हैं, you can't do that.
We are the ones who are being liberated enough.
Muslims are a vibrant community. Take them into confidence, Anuja.
So one second. Okay, can I just address this issue? I have limited time. Anuja ji, I have limited time. Let's address this one issue. Even Feroz Ahmed Bakht, who is a supporter of this amendment, is suggesting that you have not been successful in taking the Muslim community on board. Just respond to this. So let us speak.
I think we are connected with the Muslim community. The people who are connected with the Muslim community is on the board only. That is why the government has taken this step. We are being approached by them. We have seen the aggrieved parties. Why is the government is there then? When we have a Supreme Court of India, we should stop Supreme Court of India also. If the tribunal is the Supreme Court of India, what is required is that Constitution is the thing which cannot be above the nobody is above Constitution of law, the rule of law. This needs a sovereignty.
The opposition today says that actually what is being brought in is unconstitutional. I don't know whether it will be challenged, but certainly legal luminaries have come to the table and said that there are certain provisions that are foul of basic principles in the Indian Constitution, the powers that were granted to the Waqf boards. I have to leave it at that. I do thank our guests for joining us. Remember, the bill is being tabled tomorrow. We will also hear Home Minister Amit Shah, we're getting to know during the debate. I have to slip into a very short break. On the other side, the big tussle that is going on under Revanth Reddy's government in Telangana. Students up in arms. Why? We'll get you more in just a bit.
Ta-da!双方特战队员在混合编组乘机石化过程中，最大的困难就是语言上的障碍。我们在训练开始之前，就与泰方官兵建立战术手势上的交流，手势上的利用有效地提高了双方战术上的交流和协同作战能力。通过作战背景设置、方案制定、技战术交流、图上推演、预先训练、装设备精细检查等前期工作。
Welcome back. The Revanth Reddy government in Telangana is at war with its own people, in fact with its students, and this over a 400-acre land in Kacha Gachiboli village in the IT corridor of Hyderabad. This very piece of land has become the ground zero of a massive political row, with Congress government laying claim to it and students contesting it. The catalyst, the students' protests over the government move to clear this land bordering the varsity campus on which it plans to set up an IT park. The students say the area is home to over 455 species of flora and fauna. The Telangana government has reiterated that it is not forest land. It says it's not even university land to begin with in the first place. So let me just trace the timeline of this land row for you. Andhra Pradesh government allotted 400 acres of this land in Kacha Gachibowli village to a private company named IMG Academies Bharat Private Limited for sports facilities development. But 2 years later, it was revoked due to failure to develop the project. IMG Academies challenged the revocation in Andhra Pradesh High Court in 2024. The High Court has ruled in favor of the government, upholding the revocation. The same year, the Supreme Court also dismissed IMG Academy's special leave petition, securing the land for the Telangana government. Revanth government is now banking on this judgment, capitalizing it in its defense, and face-off is raging on. So is it the students who are being misled? Or are their concerns valid? Something that a responsible government should look at, that the question is no longer about who the land belongs to, but what is it going to be used for?
ఇరవై 25 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి ఏ రోజు కూడా సెంట్రల్ యూనివర్సిటీ దగ్గర భూమి లేదు.
Police have forcibly taken us away and this is not a detention also.
वो लोग जबरदस्ती हमको उठा के लेके जा रहे हैं. हम कैंपस में आए थे पूछने के लिए कि क्यों यहाँ बुलडोजर आया है.
అడ్డం వచ్చిన పిల్లలను ఇష్టం వచ్చినట్టు కొట్టి వాళ్ళను ఆడపిల్లలను చూడకుండా బట్టలు చింపి ఒక దుశ్శాసన పర్వానికి తెరదీసి ఇంత అరాచకం ఏదైతే రేవంత్ రెడ్డి ప్రభుత్వం చేస్తున్నదో
Going across to our guest joining us, NV Subhash from the BJP, Rohit Rao Maneni from the Congress Party joining us today, Dinesh Chaudhary from the BRS and also Shashidhar Vupala, activist joining us today. I want to go across to our Congress representative first. Mr. Maneni, a lot of people are wondering just what is going on as far as the Revanth Reddy-led government is concerned. You've been in news for all the wrong reasons recently, particularly when it comes to the high-handed attitude of the Chief Minister. So I won't go into some of those past cases first. I want to understand from you, why can't you just listen to what the students are saying and understand their concerns?
No, listen, I think it's unfair to label the government as being, not being friendly to the students or anything like that. The students are being misled here by, there are some political parties that are trying to misuse and misalign this campaign and give them spread false information. And the students, they might be thinking that the land belongs to the university, but the fact remains, as declared by the Honorable Chief Minister on the floor of the House, for the last 25 years also, the land never belonged to the university, number one. It belongs to the government, and the government has decided that in the best interest of the promoting the IT corridor further, you got to remember, I recollect your verse saying that Gachibowli village, it's actually Gachibowli is now the heart of the center of Hyderabad in terms of the financial hub. It is well and truly developed land that surrounds that particular 400 acres.
Then why not leave this stretch of green land? Does it not serve the purpose, especially in a concretized city now?
The debate over environment versus development is an ongoing one, and at various times the state has to take a call in terms of the interests of the development of the IT corridor. There are so many unemployed youth. We require a lot of companies to come and set up shop. We go everywhere. We go to Davos, we go here, we go there. We go to allocate land and invest, and we try and get companies to invest with us. So the government has taken a strategic decision to attract more companies, to give more jobs. And yes, there is a vacant land that you can say that, oh, why not leave it open? But this development versus ecological balance.
But can I ask you, for example, your political opponents today, including the BJP and all, and central ministers are urging you to at least hold your horses, maybe conduct a study or two, assuage people's fears, see what the ecological impact could be. Have you done those exercises?
Ma'am, what I'd like to say is, see, the same political parties, right? If I can show these sort of images on screen, right? You can see a poor deer that is being dead. To say is, see, the same political parties, right? If I can show these sort of images on screen, right? You can see a poor deer that is being dead, and all the political parties, including BRS, right, especially the BRS, they've been going on a misinformation campaign saying that, oh, this particular animal was actually killed because of clearing some of the trees. This is totally false. Today morning, I was in a debate, and one of their main spokesperson, BRS spokesperson, Mr. Kiren, on air agreed that this was a wrong report. That was today morning, I was in a debate, and one of their main spokesperson, BRS spokesperson, Mr. Kiren, on air agreed that this was a wrong report that they actually published. What I'm trying to say there is, the political parties are trying to, over dramatize this whole issue.
Okay, I'm not sure the political parties are doing that. I think they're only using what the students are saying. So, but let me get your opponents on board. Dinesh Chaudhary, the BRS was mentioned. Are you just politicizing this? You didn't really do anything much when you were in power, etc. The Congress seems to suggest this is a necessary evil they have to go for.
What Congress is trying to do is a clear contradiction to what their present Chief Minister and other Congress leaders have been saying before the elections. And let me make the fact clear that nobody can mislead the students. They are PhD level students who are very much well versed in the ways of the world. And there is a clear report showing that there are more than 735 species of plant and fauna in that, along with 220 species of birds and mammals. And those include even the protected star tortoises and spotted deer, the Telangana state animal. The students of Hyderabad Central University have been using this land for research purposes from the past 2-3 decades. And the state government contradiction saying that this land belongs to the government, not HCU, is not correct, because in 1975, 2,300 acres of land was given to Hyderabad Central University. And out of that, in 2003, they have taken 400 acres of this land for a dubious purpose, giving it to a, recently launched novice company with just 5 lakhs of its capital. That got contested in Supreme Court and it got displaced. But now, everybody is saying that this is a lung space of Hyderabad, and displacing those mammals and uprooting those trees, it will definitely upset the ecological balance of the area and biodiversity.
Okay, can I just go across to a BJP representative as well? NV Subhash, is the government missing the woods for the trees, as they say? They're missing the larger point here, that this is no longer about who owns the land. This is about the value that this land is serving right now.
Exactly. This land is just centrally located in Hyderabad, where it is surrounded by so many skyscrapers, the concrete jungle, and the Congress representative and the Congress government is misleading the people. No student is being provoked or has been educated about to do the registration on that. Hyderabad Central University, people come from different parts of the country. They are not so stupid to fall in the prey of the political parties. The President of India is the regular visitor here. It is where it is there from past so many years. The lung space, the species have been dismantled, and they took the government has taken a stand on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, where it is 5 days holidays in Telangana. They have just encroached, and then they have gone, and then they have completely destroyed in that. So we ask, we condemn this kind of attitude, and the Revanth Reddy's government has become bankrupt. They wanted to sell this property for 40,000 crores. It is, the value of the property is around 40,000 crores, but they wanted to sell it for 20,000 crores. Even in 2007, 2008 also, the high command of the Congress party had an eye on this property. They wanted to give to the builder, the Delhi-based builder. Now they got an opportunity. They wanted to do it because the financial crisis of Telangana is so deep, they are in deep
So they're
trouble. There is
monetizing
no
this
money to pay
land,
to the salaries.
not so much because of unemployment. But I want to ask you, Mr. Subhash, has the government, you're the opposition in Telangana today, you and the BRS, has the government been open to listening to your concerns? Because the students certainly don't seem to think so. Because there are images of bulldozers at night, and there seems to be a clandestine manner in which the government is trying to, force its way. Why can't the politicians of the state get together and come to some consensus? Are they not listening to you?
They are not listening, and then we have gone to the education minister today. Our, the state president and junior minister, along with Bharatiya Janata Party MPs, have given a representation to Dharmendra Pradhanji, who happens to be the education minister in that. The registrar of the Hyderabad Central University also claimed that this land belongs to Hyderabad Central University. We have not given to the Telangana government. So the Telangana government wants to acquire a land, encroach a land wherever it is, because they wanted to sell to the realtors, and then they wanted to make money because the financial crisis is so deep.
Okay, can he respond to that? Can Mr. Maneni respond to that, please?
Yeah.
Two things. One, could you have not held your horses till, let's say, clarity could have prevailed on the ownership of the land? And secondly, the allegation that is coming your way that this is actually because the state is bankrupt, so you're looking for ways to just monetize.
No. I'll answer both of those. Firstly, it's the Supreme Court, the highest court of the land, that has clarified that the government owns this piece of land, not Hyderabad Central University or not any other body. It is the Telangana government has the absolute ownership of this land, and there is no better body than the Supreme Court. So I'm really surprised that both the opposition parties are actually, hanging out this claim that the government may not actually own this, and they're actually encroaching. How can government encroach? The word itself is, I take offense to that.
But why did you do the action that you did in the manner that it happened?
No, see, when there are, like I said at the beginning of when students are being misled, when there are political forces trying to dramatize events, you've got to take the help of the police to try and get some sense. The development of the land. Okay, now let me answer the second part of your question, which was, the bankruptcy part. Who was in government for 10 years since the formation of the state? Wasn't it the BRS? The BRS looted this state, made sure that the revenues and the coffers of the state were absolute zero. Yes, the government is looking for sources of revenue. Yes, it is looking for development. Yes, it is looking for companies to come and invest in Hyderabad. We would like to replenish the coffers so that we can continue with the schemes that we want to offer and make sure this welfare of the people are met. What is wrong with that?
Maybe pick your battles. Both our opposition members want to speak, but I have to go across to Shashidhar Vupalla as well. Same question to you, sir. Is the government, one, being high-handed in the manner that they're dealing with this, because we have it in control, so we'll do what we want to do? And secondly, are they missing the larger picture of what this land could instead be? I understand it's valuable, I understand it's development versus ecology, but still, there are some concerns that are legit here.
First of all, I would like to disagree with the statement of the Congress spokesperson stating that this land is owned by the government. Of course, the government is again elected by the people, and it is a reminder to everyone here, a government will only serve for a period of time, but it is all the property of public. So it has to be for best use. And when it comes to development, there are many other parts in Telangana where development is really required. Now, the western part of Hyderabad is already developed, and it has its own IT setup, and its IT ecosystem is very strong. And if really government has any concern or any interest to develop Telangana, they can also focus on other parts, especially the southern region. And coming to the environmental challenges, yes, this is a lung space, and even the consultation process of the government is not so clear. And this is a university which has students across the globe and students from all over India. So for petty politics, no one would fall for it. And definitely it has some significant importance, and for research purposes and for habitation for other purposes, this is being used. And definitely this needs a wider approach where a consultative process with experts should be dealt and then taken action accordingly. But without any consultation overnight, encroaching, or I would rather say taking it over, is not correct.
Actually, that brings me back. Mr. Chaudhary, to the high-handed question or streak that is emerging from Revanth Reddy. It's not just this episode. There are several episodes that have happened against journalists. There are statements, threatening statements, life and limb threatening statements that are being made by the sitting Chief Minister. So is this a streak emerging?
Yes, definitely. What we are seeing today is Congress exhibiting its true colors whenever it's in power. They are bringing back the emergency days where they are curbing the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and the right to protest. We have seen journalists being arrested just for covering these students' protests. We have seen women students being dragged mercilessly while their clothes are being torn. We are seeing PhD students being jailed just for participating in this protest. And also, they should take the cognizance that the Congress's own NSUI student organization has also condemned the high-handed nature of Revanth Reddy's statements and actions. Today, students across Telangana are supporting this movement. We have seen Osmania University erupting into protest today on the HCU issue. We have seen Kakatiya University erupting into protest regarding this HCU issue. And soon you will see entire student community of Telangana coming in support of HCU, because what they are fighting for is right. And the government, when they said they just want to develop an IT park, there are ample and abundant land spaces available.
Okay.
In the surroundings of Hyderabad. You have Maheshwaram, or you have the imaginary favorite fourth city of Revanth Reddy. You can keep it over there. Why do you want to destroy this 400 acres?
Actually, I would contest that it would be good for investments if there was this lung space available in the major IT city. Because if it's all concretized, it actually reduces its value and, you know, the kind of value that people can get out of living there. But NV Subhash, I am coming to you. How do you intend to challenge this action from the government? What is the opposition really going to do about it?
See, we have already consulted our the Just Education Minister, and then we have given a memorandum, and then we want environmental the minister also come into the picture, because it's 400 acres is no jokes in that. There are so many abundant land which is available. Previous government has constructed a lot of skyscrapers in other parts of the city, but there are no takers on that. So every government, whether it is BRS government or the Congress government, they have eye in the western part of the city. But as Bharatiya Janata Party, as a good citizen of this state, we have already represented, and then definitely we want all the ministries to come into the picture and then take into account on that.
Okay.
Because once the sanctity of this land, if it goes to realtor or someone, if it goes to the government of Telangana, definitely we are going to lose the ecological system, the ecological balance on that. And there are so many students across the city and just across the country who wanted to do research. It's a very the peaceful place.
I have 20 seconds left.
So
can I ask my Congress representative? Maybe a rethink on the approach, Mr. Maneni? 20 seconds.
Listen, the government, in the best interest of the state, has decided to develop that piece of land. There could be some collateral damage in terms of the environmental concerns. I'm not denying that. But you got to always look at the debate of what can be developed and where it can be developed and what is the value of developing that.
So you're not backing off from this?
Absolutely not. We have to go ahead and create the jobs for the youth that are actually looking for sources of income. We have to do that.
All right. I will try and follow up this story, because I think it shouldn't really just end here, but I am out of time. I do thank our guests for joining us today. That's a wrap on Plain Speak. Right Stand with Anand Narasimhan on the other side.
Brought to you by